is John Burris, and thank you for watching this short video today. This video is called Fascia and Aging, Part 2. The Dowagers Hump is the second in the series I'll be doing on the impact of fascia in our life. And if you haven't watched the first video or the second one, explaining the full impact of fascia, then maybe please visit that. Today we'll be focusing on the Dowagers Hump. So the Dowagers Hump is a large hump in the back of someone's neck, usually in older people, for some reason usually in women, but men can also have it. And I'm going to explain where it comes from and how to get rid of it. The interesting thing is it's not caused by age, it's not caused by gravity, it's not caused by genetics or your family history. There are things that most of us are doing that create it. And that's the problem. Most people don't know they're creating it, and they end up with it, and sometimes they don't even know they have it. And most people don't even know how to get rid of it. So today we'll be explaining a lot of those different ideas and ways to start to shape the body in a different way. Essentially, the human body is like soft plastic. It can be molded and shaped. It can get harder, softer, shorter, and drier if most people do the wrong things. Or it can get more alive, more expansive, more open if you do the right things. So today we'll be demonstrating where the Dowagers Hump comes from and how to get rid of it. So here's a picture of the Dowagers Hump. And see, most people don't even know they have it. They just live with it, not even know they have such a condition. It can be painful for some people, they don't know it. It could be irritating. There's all kinds of interesting things that could happen along the way. So most people have spent their whole life creating this, and it just didn't happen all of a sudden. It happened over a lifetime of poor choices and poor habits that have created this kind of body condition. So once again, it is correctable. Most people don't know how to correct it. They don't even know they have it. And they just keep living life the same way. The fascia runs through the body in many different ways. So remember, the fascia is like the white stuff in an orange. And it's all the white stuff, the fascia. It's kind of like a saran wrap running through the body. It starts to keep everything together, and it keeps us upright, and it keeps us from leaking out all over the floor. So there's a particular line of fascia in the body called the front line. And this is a big part of the Dowagers Hump. The front line of the body runs from the pubic bone to the neck. Well, that's part of it. Another part will actually run down the legs, but for this purpose, from the pubic bone to the neck is called the front line of fascia in the body. And what happens with the Dowagers Hump, people shorten that line. So they become short in front, and they end up rounding in back. So a large part of the Dowagers Hump is shortening the fascia in the front of the body and then rounding the back of the body. It's an engineering issue. As you shorten the front line of the body, the back of the body and the neck start to compress and glue together. So if this is a model of our spine, the spine being here with its vertebrae, you have the front line of the body right here, the back of the line of the body here. It's all fascia tissue. When you shorten the front line, it pulls the vertebrae together. So in Dowagers Hump, you're going to have a lot of vertebrae squeezed together. In fact, it'd be very difficult for a chiropractor to crack that area because everything is so tight and squeezed together. So the front line of the body here shortens, pulls the vertebrae together. The back line of the body here, which is fascia as well, starts to lengthen a little bit. Actually, that shortens as well in the long term. And you squeeze it all together. And here's the other interesting part of what happens here. So, for example, if this were the space between your shoulder blades, right in back here, there's a lot of lines of fascia that crisscross each other, especially between the shoulder blades. When you have a Dowagers Hump and you're rounding forward in front, compressing back here, you start to create a lot of fatty deposits. And calcium that builds up between the shoulder blades. It's like a hump. It's like camel's hump. So as the fascia glues together and fuses together in the back of your neck here, the calcium and fatty deposits start to go in there because there's no circulation. So when people have a Dowagers hump, it's like a camel's hump. It's fatty, it's rigid, it's hard, it's spongy, because the fatty cells and the calcium have deposited there. That's not a good thing, but that's what happens. It's not just muscle and fascia anymore. You have a stagnation going on there of cells and tissue that are collecting there. So we all have this Dowagers hump here. You get fatty deposits of calcium and other minerals start to collect there as a cesspool of stagnation. This is another view of the front line of the body. It's all fascia tissue that runs from the pubic bone through the chest and the neck. When you shorten that line, either unconsciously or deliberately, you're going to start rounding the back because the fascia is pulling the chest forward. So now we understand what the problem is. Let's look at where it comes from and how to correct it. So we might have to explore a little bit about the body-mind connection, because a lot of what happens with the Dowagers hump happens in the mind. And we'll be talking about that. So remember the front line of the body. What happens there? How does it become shorter? Well, one way is fitness. When you tighten your core, tighten your chest, it causes you to shorten and round. And that causes a buildup of tissue back here. So fitness is one reason. Another reason is poor posture. People leading their life slumped over. They don't lift their chest. They don't drop their shoulders back. They always slumping down. When you lead your life over years and decades like that, you slump forward. And that causes a rounding back here, and all the deposits of fat and calcium start to deposit back there. So poor posture is also, that's a deliberate act. That's people choosing that. That's not genetics or aging or family history. People choose good posture or they choose bad posture. There's also emotions attached to the Dowagers hump. People who don't feel good in their body, we call that shame, they feel worthless, will tend to sink down and roll their shoulders forward and tend to hide. If you do that your entire life, you're going to start rounding in the back of your neck here because you don't feel good in your body. Your mind and your body are not matched up together. You're not proud of who you are by sticking your chest out. You're sinking down and you're sunking down and you're hiding in that way. So the emotional mind and the body come together in that realm. So that's called shame. Will hunker us forward. So there's lots of ways that the Dowagers hump is created, and you can see how the mind is attached to the body and the body is attached to the mind. Here's a picture of the normal aging process. We would look at this person and say, oh, that's just normal for their age. Aging does not cause a Dowagers hump. That's a lie. What you do as you age is what's causing the Dowagers hump. And in all cases, people are shortening the front line of their body, causing their back to round, causing minerals and fat to deposit in the area around cervical vertebrae 7. That's what happens. And here's another interesting thing that I discovered. Now, I'm not a scientist in this matter. I just watch people, observe. I have lots of clients and younger students. The Dowagers hump also seems to be attracted to people who are very cerebral. They read a lot. They're at the computer a lot. They use their eyes to gather information. And they're doing that, it pulls them forward. And so a lot of cultures lead from their heart. They have a center here that leads them. Or they lead from their belly that leads them. In technology-driven cultures, we tend to lead with our eyes. And when you lead with your eyes, you're constantly pulling forward, trying to grasp information because you're afraid of missing out on information. That's the society we live in. As you keep doing that, it pulls you forward, and sinking down, you start to round because your eyes and your addiction to information are drawing you forward. So that's my observation on essentially what I see happening. So those are the reasons that I see Dowagers Hump. Now, how do we correct it? Is it correctable? Yes, it's correctable. I've worked on many people where I've helped correct their Dowagers Hump, either as a yoga teacher or as a body worker. It's not something necessarily taught in massage schools. It's a specialty, and you have to understand anatomy far beyond Anatomy 101. It's a little bit deeper. You have to break down the fascia tissue. You have to lengthen the front line of the body, lengthen the back line of the body, get circulation in there. It takes a little while, but it is possible. Let me show you a great picture to show you how it's correctable. Here you have a picture of a woman who corrected her Dowagers Hump. Now, here's the story. I don't know her. I never worked with her. I wasn't responsible for this. I do not know anything about her. This was taken from a television show called The Doctors on television. And they showed this picture of this woman, and they described her doing yoga therapy to correct this. Now, they were stunned. I didn't get any more details. All I heard was somebody who did a special type of yoga therapy helped this woman correct this. So my experience with specific yoga postures and fascia bodywork, you too can correct your Dowagers Hump. So I show you it is possible. One of the ways to correct your Dowagers Hump is with yoga poses where you actually stretch the front line of the body. Now, students who are intermediate to advanced, there's all kinds of extensive back bends you could be doing. But it takes working up to that level, being pain-free to get there. But for anybody, a simple restorative pose like this one, if you did this 15 minutes a day, this would start changing things because it starts to stretch the front line of the body we talked about. You spend 15 minutes a day, you breathe into your chest and shoulders, it starts to lengthen the fascia in the front of the body, lengthen the neck muscles, lengthen the diaphragm area, and this is a good beginning for most people. So another way to change the Dowagers Hump, you do some fascia body work. A special body worker will take their hands and start to stretch the tissue. It's different than a massage. Massage, the sweetest massage, is more directed towards the muscle tissue, where a fascia massage changes the fascia tissue. It starts to lengthen everything over time. So those can be important. So yoga poses, yoga therapy, fascia body work, also things you can do yourself at home every day. Think about a hook on your breastbone. If you think about lifting your breastbone up all the time, lift. It drops your shoulders back. It keeps that long spine. Catch yourself when you're slumping over. Put reminders in front of your computer or where you sit every day. Are you slumping forward? Also, emotionally, look for something to be proud about. Something to be grateful for, that you can lift your chest and stick out your chest rather than slumping forward. So if you're shame-based, you're going to slump forward and round into it. So find something to be proud about, to lift your chest and let that chest open and the shoulders drop back, and eventually this will change over time. It does take time though, because a lot of times the fascia has become hardened and glued together, and it takes time to unwind that and to break that down. So that's about it here. Remember, the Dowagers Hump is not about aging. That's a lie. The Dowagers Hump is about what many people do as they age, either consciously or unconsciously. So if you become conscious of your body, then you'll have a better life experience. So make better choices along the journey. Thank you for watching this short video. I hope you enjoyed it. If you'd like to learn more about me, you can visit my website at johnburris.com. And please subscribe to my channel for more leading edge videos to come. Thank you.